I want to give a massive shout out to Ansilie Heilich. I hope I did not butcher your name. Dude, you rock. He helped me navigate the deepest of rabbit holes. He is a current odd fellow and a wicked tattoo artist. Dude, one day I'm gonna get there because you're gonna ink me, okay? I'm gonna leave all of his information, his tattoo shop at Vintage Karma. You can see all of his awesome artwork. And thank you, man. I got stuck in some financial records and could not get out. Thank you so much for helping me. And like I said, you rock. Don't ever stop. Hello, YouTube. I'm Danny, and welcome to Spirits of History, where I do what most investigators don't want to do. I find a rabbit hole of whatever haunted, strange, and mysterious places, people, and objects, and I dive headfirst, and I usually get lost. Like with this story. The Oddfellows. Why would I do my first story on the Oddfellows, considering that there is 400 years of history? Well, as a historian, I don't like misinformation. I like to know the truth. And I saw a video by a paranormal team a couple months ago, I want to say. I'm very tired, and I lost track of time. I don't remember. I think it was a couple months ago. Well, some of the things in their history, I use that word very lightly here, their history that they dribble out before they investigate. Just saying, didn't really sit right with me. They said some things when visiting a abandoned Oddfellows orphanage that, of course, their audience, you guys, you ate it up. You just love the juicy gossip, thinking that you're getting a peek into something that you're not supposed to know about. Who doesn't love that, right? It's like, that's the ultimate tea spill. Or is it? They said things like, the Oddfellows are a highly private brotherhood shrouded in secrecy. And the order's ceremonies have been hidden and kept secret for centuries. This is my favorite. I love this one. There is just not a lot of information about the inner workings of the Brotherhood. What the hell have I been doing for the last week? 400 years of history. And there's no information? Okay. We'll see. Instead of taking a couple of days, a couple of hours, or a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes, to pull out their phones and clickety-clack on the Google machine to actually find out, real information. They decide to go with the town gossip or stuff they heard from other investigators 15 minutes before they hit record. And the rest, they just made up. This is not the first. It's not going to be the last time this happens. And every time I find one, I'm going to call it out. I won't call it out by name because I'm pretty sure you know who they are. They definitely know who they are. And I don't want to give them any more press. No. Mm-mm. Do your own research. It's not that bad. You don't have to go as deep as I did. Just, sprinkle a couple of true things in there. And this is a rant, and I'm sorry, but I have to get it out there. You have to think when you're watching a paranormal team, ghost hunters, investigators. Look up the meaning of investigator. Okay, and an investigator investigates all the way around. They're supposed to anyway. Can we have the definition changed? Because, yeah. Anyway, like I said, I'm on a rant. I am not a skeptic of the paranormal at all. I'm an investigator. However, I am highly skeptical of the living. Especially when they're doing it for money. If a paranormal team is willing to lie so easily and just make up stuff, why would I believe anything they do or say? I mean, were they really there all night? Did they really separate? Did they just rent the place for a couple of hours, pull some strings, make some shadows, maybe some shadow puppet? Yeah, that's not going to work. Shadow puppets. Did they, use CGI? Whatever. Because your views are paying them enough money to do their research or to hire a researcher. But they choose not to. And like I said, I can't trust any of their evidence if they're going to lie about something that they could have gotten the truth about in a couple of minutes. Just clickety-clack. Google machine. It's there for everyone. It's free. Just freaking Google it. Okay. Deep breath. The rant is over. Enough of that. You came here for the Oddfellows gossip. Okay. In the beginning. Yes. And when I say beginning, I mean mid 1600s to early 1700s. Oh yeah, I went that far. Yes, my head does hurt. And I'm very tired. You're welcome. Thank you. Anyway. Early 1700s, mid 1600s. I told you, I'm going to stumble a lot. A bunch of tradesmen got together. Workers. This is the 1700s. Nothing was available for the public. Tradesmen and workers got together all shapes, sizes, colors, status, class, religions, didn't matter. If they needed help, they would help each other. And they noticed, maybe we can help those guys over there too. After a while, one moved to somewhere else, did the same thing with another group of people. Again, all different, but with one goal: to help each other. This was kind of like unemployment before unemployment was even a possibility. Or unions. There are some accounts that say that they unionized some of the workers. Well, that was unheard of. Hello. We haven't even gotten to the 1800s yet. And they're unionizing? That's pretty awesome. That's some forward thinking. Not to mention the fact that they didn't discriminate. If you were human and you needed help, that's all that matters. Now, that's all I'm going to go into, because that was in England, and what you guys really want to know about is the United States of America, where things really start popping off for the Oddfellows. Although as early as 1806, there were unofficial Oddfellow groups popping up, especially around New York, where the immigrants were coming in. They wanted to stick together and see if they could do here what they did back home in England. Why not? But it wasn't until 1819 in Baltimore, Maryland, when the very first official independent order of the Odd Fellowship Lodge was established. Now, we need to look at the fact that they are called, it's not just the Odd Fellows, it is, their official name is the Independent Order of the Odd Fellowship. There's a reason for this. Back in England, they kind of got in a little trouble. People were looking at them funny. The church thought they were trying to, undermine them. The government felt the same. Church, state, same thing back then. So they wanted to make sure that everyone knew that they were independent from government and religion. They were not they weren't throwing shade at them. Okay, they just wanted to do their own thing and be left alone. So that's why they're called the Independent. See? Got it? Okay. I know, that was boring. I would make a horrible teacher. This new official lodge wanted to make sure that everyone knew, remember earlier? Secrecy. Shrouded in secrecy. They wanted everyone to know what they were up to. Why were these people gathering? What were they doing? Well, they had a mission, and they wanted everyone to know what it was. And I am going to have to read this because for some reason, no matter how many times I do read it, I cannot remember it in order. To improve and elevate the character of mankind, first lodges were set up to protect and care for the members and the communities in which the members lived. At a time when there was no welfare, it didn't exist. It was just everyone for themselves. There were no unions, except for the unofficial ones that maybe the Oddfellows may have instigated. Good for them, right? Yeah, good for them. Fight the man, that kind of thing. The aim of all of this was, and still, guys, remember, these people are still around. These lodges are still open. And they're still doing this. So, like I said, their aim was, and still is. Their aim was, and still is, to provide help to people in communities in times of need. Even today, the Order's philanthropic highlights are things such as educational foundations, low interest student loans, scholarships, old folks' homes, and the list is so long that I'm not even gonna. They do good stuff, okay? Unlike a lot of other, secret societies. Columbus. Sorry, allergy. Wow. I'm gonna end up in the river. I'm just kidding. Knights, don't get mad at me. It's just a joke. I promise. Nobody's gonna off me. It's fine. Just making a little joke. Sure, you'll be fine with it. Please. I'll blink twice if I need help. Let's get to some of the juicy stuff. That's what you came here for, right? Right? The secret stuff. The stuff that no one is supposed to know outside of the fellowship. Well, I'm going to tell you. Let's start with some symbols. You may have seen this on Oddfellows buildings, lodges, plaques, just about everywhere, because they have had their charitable little fingers in everything. So you've probably even seen it on paperwork if you've ever filed for a student loan or a state student loan or any kind of grant that's given out by local charities. I know I have. By the way, thank you, Oddfellows, for that little. Anyway, just forget that. I didn't even think about it until I read that they did that, and I went back through my paperwork from so long ago because, like I said, I'm very old. And apparently I did get a small grant from the Oddfellows, which was very cool to find out. Believe me, this is not going to shade my opinion of them at all whatsoever, because until I did the research, I didn't really have one. I do have one now. Let's just keep going. Anyway, the symbols. Okay. You've probably all seen this symbol. I'll try to insert it here, but as this is my first video, I'm not sure if I can figure out how. But I'll try. It is a 3-chain link with the letters F, T, and L in it. And like I said, it's on all of their buildings. Anything Oddfellows related, you will find this link. The F, T, and L stand for friendship, love, and trust. So shady. Guys, get it together. Make it be so shady. I'm just kidding. Okay. Another one that grosses some people out because, that heart symbol, that little thing, the cute little Valentine's Day hearts, that's kind of a modern symbol. That's a modern concept. So back in the day, I mean, today, yeah, okay, some of the lodges use the heart and hand that has, the cute little Valentine's Day heart. But originally, it was actually shaped like a human heart. Heart and hands sounds absolutely disgusting and disturbing. Right? But is it? Well, let's find out. Because it represents, to the fellows, it represents purging any evil from one's life that may impede their ability to help and elevate others. Not so creepy. I get it. I can roll with that. It's just a symbol. I mean, they're not walking around with human hearts in their hands. Drama queens. Anyway, and one that we're all familiar with is the all-seeing eye. We've all seen that one on the back of money. I am not diving into that conspiracy rabbit hole. But for the Odd Fellows, it is simple. God is always watching. I'm not very religious, but it's a nice thought. And it's a good reminder to live your life like you are being held accountable for every action that you make. A lot of people could use that. And, well, enter the goat. Again, if I can, I will put it here. The goat. The goat. The goat. The goat. I don't know where to start with the goat. You know what? Yes, I do. I've been thinking about how to explain the goat, and I will be sticking up for the Masons. Yes, all you Freemasons out there, I got you back, because I know you don't think it's funny. Y'all, leave the Freemasons alone whenever it comes to the goat, okay? They don't think it's funny. They've never, the Masons and the Oddfellows have never had any symbolism or anything else in rituals, literature, anything to do with a goat. However, as much as the Freemasons hate this conspiracy theory or rumor, I'm not sure which one it is. Where do you draw the line between rumor and conspiracy theory? I might have to do a video on that. Let's go to the rituals, and then I will try to explain the goat. Emphasis on try, because it's hilarious. Sorry, Masons, but it's funny. And I'm not the only one who thought so. I'm still not the only one who thinks so. So let's get to those rituals and ceremonies that the paranormal team said. What was it they said? Hold on. I'm going to remind you because I have to remind myself. The order's ceremonies have been hidden and kept secret for centuries. Well, I'm about to tell you all about them. Some of them are boring. Nobody cares. Put a shawl around somebody. That is not something you are here for. But you know what? I had to learn about it. Again, you're welcome. Weeding out all the boring stuff. Just the juicy, shady, shrouded in secrecy ceremonies and rituals that you all love to not bother to learn about. But I did. And there's a freaking, I don't know what, I think it's a, what is that? I may be hallucinating. Anyway, rituals and ceremonies. Let's start with the obvious and most creepy. The skeletons. Oh, the skeletons. What are you looking at? They're not the only ones, you know. Just saying, I'm not an odd fellow. They're not the only ones. I forgot about that one. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to edit this so much. Anyway, the Oddfellow skeletons. You've all heard the stories. Somebody buys a building and goes to renovate it. They knock down a wall and they find human remains. Trace back the title and realize that it used to be an Oddfellows Lodge. So obviously, it is super shady. Oh my god. They murdered people in rituals and shoved them in a wall and... Y'all, get a grip. Do you really think that's what happened? I mean, come on. Really? This was one of... I needed answers because there was no way I was believing that this 400... Hey, I'm trying... I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Get... He's a little touchy about the subject, okay? Just... I know you want to speak, but it's not your turn. Put that down. Okay. Anyway. Seriously, get a grip. They're not murdering people and putting them in walls and then abandoning the building so the next person can find it. For 400 years. What? Common sense is in short supply. Where do they get these skeletons? Where'd you come from? That's still a mystery. He just kind of showed up at my house. Nobody will fess up to it. Anyway. Like I was saying, where did they get their skeletons? Some will have you believe that these guys spend their days helping children, the homeless, the elderly, and at night, by the light of a full moon, they grab their torches, flashlights, whatever century we're in, shovels, and head out to the cemetery and dig up Nana. Bring her back to their temple and do weird stuff with her corpse. Again. Get a grip. A lot of people think that because of the skeletons that are used in their ceremonies, that they've got to be Satanist, devil worshippers. or something else that I'm not going to say, because I did hear one theory that was just, oh my god, ew. No, you guys are shady. You guys are shadier than actual secret societies. Get a grip. Get some common sense. Control yourself. For God's sakes. They got their skeletons from hospitals and doctors. They were either donated or bought for a ritual. They only really needed one, but sometimes the hospital had way too many, and they thought, we'll take them. Maybe another lodge needs one. Anyway, point is, they weren't digging up Nana. They weren't killing people. And they weren't doing satanic rituals with them. If you still believe that after this video, next time you go to a chiropractor or any doctor that's got a skeleton, a skull, a partial skeleton, make sure you accuse them of being Satan worshipers, because chances are they weren't donated. The doctors, the original doctors, they probably dug up Nana. Just saying. They needed bodies. And, yep, just got an idea for another video. Thank you. Anyway. The ritual itself. Now that we've cleared up that Nana is safely in her grave and not going to be dug up by the Oddfellows, let's move on to what the skeletons are used for now. And in fact, some of the skeletons, especially these days, aren't even real. I'm looking at you. Not an alien skeleton or a fairy. He's not real. Just want to make that clear. It's plastic. I think he has made in China on his butt bone. Let's get to one of those super secret rituals. With the skeleton. What is done, not every lodge does it the same. Not every lodge does it at all. You stay there. I'm just, hey! Trying to burn my house down. Okay, whoever sent me this, you suck. Okay. Anyway. Where was I? Oh boy, the editing. I don't think all lodges do it the same way. They certainly don't all use a real skeleton. There are different spins on it. I do believe all lodges do this ritual because it is imperative to who they are. What can that mean? Well, someone who joins an initiate, joining the Oddfellows, has to go through a process to make sure that they're a good fit and that they are the kind of person that will live up to their mission statement. The one that's a couple 100 years old, kind of got to stick with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Anyway, once you are deemed to be that person, I am sure there is, no, I know there's more to it. I do. I do, but it's like I said, you don't care. So that's knowledge that's going to live rent free in my head for the rest of my life for no good reason. Anyway, one way this ritual is done is when the initiate finally gets to join. They will be sat in a chair, sometimes in some sort of straitjacket or something that restricts their movements. I believe to keep them from moving their head or covering their face. It's not done tightly. It's like I said, just to stop movement. Some their hands may be just tied behind their back with a silk scarf. Hey, somebody out there's mind just went to the gutter. Stop it. We're talking about skeletons here, okay? Human remains. Stop it. Stop. Did you stop? Okay. Get yourself together. Okay. Anyway, the point is to restrict the movement of the arms so you can't cover your face. Now, why can't you cover your face? Well, let's move on to the next item, which is usually some sort of goggles or blinders that sort of like you would put on a horse that's pulling a carriage so they can't see around them. They can only see directly what's in front of them, which is cruel, by the way. If you own horses, please don't put blinders on them. That's just mean. If they're curious, let them be curious. If you can't control your horse, well, that's your problem, not theirs. Just saying. Right over. Yes, they can only look forwards. They are left alone in the room with a coffin and a skeleton. Real or fake, doesn't matter. It's the symbolism that matters. Why would they do something like this? Leave some person in a room alone with the skeleton and all they can do is look directly at it. What could possibly be the point in such a creepy and disturbing ritual? Well, you'd be surprised. The point of this is to look the skeleton in the eye and come to terms with the fact that you're gonna die. Recently being a chemo patient, I can relate, okay? You look at the skeleton and you're left alone because you need to find yourself. You need to come to terms with your own mortality. Process that. Deal with it. Cry if you need to. But once that part is over, then the next thing that comes to mind is you're here for a short time. What are you going to do with it? You're just going to exist? You're going to leave nothing behind? Maybe, I don't know, a status or some money, an inheritance for somebody, life insurance policy, and then it's over. That's it. That's all you're going to leave behind? Or do you want to leave a legacy? Be part of something bigger than yourself. Spend your life helping as many people as possible and leave your life knowing what you left behind actually meant something. I'm trying not to tear up because it is, and despite all of the jokes about it being creepy and satanic and Nana, I think I have seen the ritual. Not in person, but I have seen it. And it is, actually, it's beautiful. Okay? I said it. Turns out these guys are everything this channel is about. They're weird and wonderful. Okay? Because making it through that ritual cannot be easy. And accepting that responsibility cannot be easy. And then to spend the rest of your life dedicated to something like that, being selfless, is not easy. We all know that. We see it every day with celebrities and politicians and whoever else cares about nothing but their own family and their own personal legacy. So, to sum up that ritual, no, it's not creepy. I don't think so at all. But you let me know. What do you think about it? Let's move on to the reason the goat is a problem for the Freemasons. One of the other odd rituals they have is part ritual, part hazing, but gentle. You know, they're funny dudes, okay? They have a sense of humor and they use it. Leave them alone. Okay. Depending on which decade, century you're in, when a member was fully a member, fully accepted, they would be carried around, laid out on a tarp or a canvas, and carried around the room by the other members. At some point, someone thought it would be either funny or beneficial to start kicking the underside of said canvas or tarp while the subject was being carried around the room to make the ride rough. From what I understand, this is supposed to symbolize that everyone falls, but we've got you. Life is rough. It is a rough ride. And when you fall, we've got you. Fun, funny, and heavily symbolic. I'm okay with that one too. Sounds like a good time. Now we get to what we were talking about before. The goat. Most likely, this is where the goat comes into the picture. Someone, I'm guessing, in the late 1700s, early 1800s, went through this carrying ritual, ceremony, whatever, tomato, and went home and told his wife, who told her best friend, who told her neighbor, who told her husband's brother's girlfriend. I don't know. You know, the way rumors go. Anyway, this got picked up by probably the church, and he said something along the lines of, it was like riding a fucking goat. Sometime probably in the early 1800s, someone who went through this ritual ceremony, whatever, went home and told his wife or his brother or his neighbor that it was like riding a bucking goat. And that spread from person to person, getting a little bit stranger every time. I think at one point it was riding a goat backwards in your underwear. Anyway, they all assumed that that's what these freaks were up to in their secret little chamber of horrors, right? They're in there in their underwear riding goats. Why would anybody do that? What? Anyway, different century, same crap, I guess. Why? The Masons, I'm I'm imagining people from the church or from the community with their torches and pitchforks yelling, "Off to the pile with you and your satanic goat riding." Something like that. Probably wasn't that deep, but as I said, the Masons took great offense to this. The Oddfellows, however, well, how do you think they got their name? Take a rumor? Or something that's supposed to be an insult to them? And own it, baby. Just own it. So from that time, they started doing things to like their initiates when they were getting ready for that skeleton ritual. They would say stuff like, "I hope the goat's ready," or "Did someone get the goat?" And they started putting, it probably scared the crap out of the initiate, okay? It may have worried them for a second, but it was all in fun. These were the rumors and they were going with it. They started putting goats on their little lapel pins, and they would have taxidermy goats in their temples for everybody to see. And it just became sort of like an inside joke. And every time somebody accuses them of sacrificing or riding goats in their underwear, they all collectively laugh their butts off. Because why? Why not? Just go for it. Anyway, I want to go back to the bones in the wall scandal. We've all heard the stories or read the stories, or I don't know, we've all heard about the skeletons in the walls. I have a theory about this. I did not dig too deep into it because there are so many obvious reasons for it that and I didn't have any more room in my brain. It's they have their ancestry, their entire freaking ancestry in like every building, every financial documents, and every charity, and I'm so tired. But I'm still not finished. Because the bones in the walls, my theory, because a lot of the images that I saw from newspapers, TV, whatever, I noticed something. It wasn't just a skeleton. There were robes and collars, the satin or silk collars that they wear. badges, lapel pins, rings. I saw little bits of this stuff in these pictures, but they were very carefully cropped. There's that bug again. They were very carefully cropped to where you only saw the skeleton. I'm about to use you as a fly swatter. Interesting. Well, this is how the media works. Getting everybody worked up. So what does that sound like to you? Newspaper clippings, pieces of the lodge, pieces that belong to members. We do this. Libraries do this. Schools do this. It's a time capsule for future members. You have to remember that these lodges were meant to stand forever. But because of dwindling membership, due to, I don't know, rumors and misinformation, a lot of these places have had to close down. Their members stayed members until they died, and then eventually there was no one to pass the lodge on to, and it got sold. This happens all the time, not just with the Oddfellows. Use your brain. It's not all that bad. Just, like I said, it's not Nana. Possibly, unless the doctors did something shady. Whole nother episode. Anyway, I'm gonna get to let's talk about this video that I saw and why it bothered me so much. Because it was at an orphanage. Now, yes, the Oddfellows did something that no one else was doing at the time except private. Private orphanages were making a fortune off of child labor. They would take in children, barely feed them, make them work the fields or whatever they needed to be done, sell their products. These children never got an education. Most of them died due to the conditions they were in. And the Oddfellows wanted to help with this. So they built orphanages. Yes, these huge, sprawling places that were not only meant to be a home for children who had no home or no family, but they also wanted to educate them. Now, all of these videos talk about how the Oddfellows used the children in rituals. That did not happen because, again, why would it? I mean, common sense. Why? What do children have to do with anything? It doesn't. However, they're also saying that abuse was taking place. These children were abused. Were they? I don't know. And I can say that honestly, I don't think that the Oddfellows had any part in any of that. I'm sure that when they found out, it was taken care of. But I want to be clear, and I want everybody to dig deep and find the slightest bit of common sense and logic. I don't care when, where, or how. When there are vulnerable people, children, disabled, the elderly, if they're vulnerable people, there will be predators. Every time, in every century, every decade, every state, every country, this is a sad truth that isn't history. It happens now. In the 1960s, the Oddfellows stopped building orphanages, and their current ones were abandoned because the US government took over child welfare. How'd that work out? How many children are living on the streets because they would rather be there than the abusive homes the government put them in? How many children die every year because of the abusive and neglected homes that the government put them in? Is the foster care system all bad? Of course not. There are some wonderful people who love and care for these children like they are their own, just like there were back then. But there are also some horrible people who just want the money, or they like, you know what I'm saying? If they can't stop it now, how are they supposed to stop it back then? Different century, same crap. Just saying. Instead of accusing the Oddfellows of having something to do with this, wasting your energy and your praise on these people who are spreading misinformation, why don't you turn around, look at the world that's happening around you now, and help someone, anyone. Just be kind. That's really what the Oddfellows are. And like I forgot to say in the beginning, is that the biggest bombshell of this whole thing, the Oddfellows are not and have never been a secret society. As a matter of fact, I got some of my information from, and again, I will try to put the image here, the Odd Fellowship Manual, which is available to anyone, anywhere. And I will put the links to all of the archives that I found in the rabbit hole, where I got all of my information, in the description box. So to end this incredibly long video, just try to be a good person. And see, you know, just give it a shot. See how it feels. Run it up the flagpole. You know, don't lie. Don't talk about something you don't know. And ask questions. Just because someone you worship on YouTube or television says something does not make it true. And if it sounds too weird to be real, it probably is. Look it up yourself. Just freaking Google it. I'll see you next time with something bizarre, I'm sure.